This is Blue Gold News Now, your spot for current events, campus news, and everything in between. Now, live from Tower's basement, it's BNN with our hosts Alex Rubio and Marissa Day.
Good evening and welcome to the last show of the semester. I'm Alex Rubio.
And I'm Marissa Day. Coming up tonight, we have an exclusive interview with our graduating seniors.
But first, the Pablo Center at the Confluence will host an annual dance showcase this weekend.
The Confluence Project performs this Friday the 12th and Saturday the 13th in the Jamf Theater at the Pablo Center at the Confluence. The performance will feature UWEC students and faculty in a two-night-only dance show. Weeks of preparation have gone into this event, which is entirely choreographed and performed by UWEC students, professional guest artists, and faculty, and demonstrates the versatility of the dance program here at UW-Eau Claire. Tickets to either of these performances are $8 for UWEC faculty and students and can be purchased at pablocenter.org.
Orpheus in the Underworld showed on May 6th to raving reviews. The opera told the old myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, where after the tragic death of Eurydice, Orpheus must make a thrilling and dangerous journey into the underworld to rescue her. The university's showing put a new spin on the story, and after the break, Evan Claymore has the scoop.
Welcome back to BNN. We'll now turn things over to our reporter Evan Claymore for more information about Orpheus in the Underworld showing at the Pablo.
Thanks, Alex and Marissa. After several months of rehearsals, the UWEC Theater Department debuted their latest production at the Pablo this past weekend. Although it's based on an ancient Greek myth, this version of Orpheus' story was adapted from a French operetta originally written and performed in 1874. However, contrary to what that description may lead you to expect, the tone of this version is much more upbeat and comedic, and UWEC's take on the script captured this exquisitely, with plenty of off-color humor, high-energy musical numbers, and extravagant, exaggerated performances from students. The show was surely a delight to watch for anyone. I spoke with John Dorschner, who played the role of Jupiter, to learn more about the opera's unique tone.
A lot of my friends came up to me after and they're like, I was not expecting this when I thought I was going to an opera. It's raunchy, it's a little sexy, that kind of like deal. And when you go to an opera, you don't really think of that. And that's really a part of why I want to pursue opera as a career, is to like expose people to that and show like the younger, hip and cool teens that opera is just as silly, just as fun, just as, like, I don't know, raunchy as other, like, popular forms of media.
All the work that the cast and crew put into this production over the past months paid off excellently, as this show proved to be a satisfying way to close out the year. I'm Evan Claymore reporting for BNN. Back to you, Alex and Marissa.
So I heard that you actually got to see the show, right?
I did, yeah. It was a fantastic show. I saw it Sunday night for the closing show, or rather Sunday afternoon. And I actually got to see John Dorschner in action as Jupiter, the Roman equivalent of Zeus, which was so fun.
So as someone who got to see it, I always knew this tale as a tragic tale of two lovers trying to get back to each other and your goals being like pulled away from you at the last second. But I had heard that this story was completely changed almost, and it sounded like Evan was also hinting at that. Could you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. Well, it was pretty different compared to what I learned it as, you know, and there's a lot of, more recently, there's quite a few modern interpretations of the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, like Hadestown the musical, which just came out a couple of years ago. I'm a huge fan of Hadestown. But this show took it in a completely different direction. This operetta, I would say, was totally, exactly like John Dorschner put it, raunchy and sexy. And it was hilarious. It was so funny. And it like very well took on a different idea behind it, because Eurydice is kidnapped by Hades. And Hades is known as Pluto in this adaptation, the Roman equivalent. And so she's kidnapped, and they're having an affair, and she hates her husband. She can't stand Orpheus, thinks he's boring, so she goes to this party in the underworld. And just, like, mayhem ensues. It's a crazy journey. Orpheus becomes part of that mayhem, and then public opinion is so funny. It's like the chorus in any Greek myth. And public opinion came out and would essentially scold Orpheus if he was doing something wrong.
Well, I mean, if Eau Claire is known for one thing, it's kind of pushing the boundaries of art, especially like in film and plays. So I think it's really cool that they're like changing some things up, especially in this play.
I would totally agree. And I think our next story has something to do with art and pushing boundaries and changing and challenging ideas.
I think it does. There's a new art exhibit in the Haas Fine Arts Building featuring capstone projects by 10 Bachelors of Fine Arts degree candidates. The exhibit, called Bringing to Light, will be available for show April 28th through May 14th in the Foster Gallery.
This semester, graduating seniors will show off their capstone projects to anyone interested in seeing them. It's a wonderful time to be a Blue Gold because these projects are a sight for sore eyes, especially with finals approaching. One of the capstone projects in the show in particular features a tent with comfortable seating inside, as well as paper crows hanging from the ceiling. The artist goes into detail on why she chose this as her last project.
In the past few years of art school, I've been really interested in breaking outside of my medium, which is photography. I was really bored with the 2D display and always framing my work, so it started just by kind of exploring sculptural ways to display photography and stuff like that. And then over winter break, I was hiking in the woods, and I had an experience where a lot of the crows were following me through the woods, and I was listening to tranquil sound bowl music, and so this is all kind of based off of that.
For more information on the Bringing to Light exhibition in the Foster Gallery, you can reach out to them through email at thefostergallery.uwec.edu. You can also visit their webpage for more info on their hours or any other details you may want to learn about.
From the VOSOT alone, it looked really beautiful, all of the art pieces. Looks like something really exciting to look at if you're kind of stuck in the ruts of finals week prep.
For sure, and it looks like a lot of, these ideas behind these projects is like provoking a feeling of nostalgia and comfort. It just looks so comforting. Imagine curling up in a tent during finals week and just sitting there and looking at paper crows.
I would definitely take my books over there to study.
I absolutely would. That sounds like a great exhibit.
Well, the last newscast of the semester is almost over, but don't go anywhere just yet.
We'll be back with our seniors Nathan Blazer and Ellie Pomerleau after the break. Welcome back to Blue Gold News Now. Joining Alex and I here are our two graduating seniors from TV10. Ellie and Nathan, we are so happy to have you on the show with us tonight.
Thanks, guys. I'm happy to be on BNN one last time, and sitting next to Nathan. We actually color coded today, so we're happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on.
Awesome. Well, why don't we get started with some questions, Alex?
Of course, let's get ready with the first question here. With the semester graduation coming fast, many friends will be saying goodbye to friends, students to teachers, and coworkers to coworkers. What would you guys say that you were going to miss most about being a Blue Gold?
I think what I'm going to miss most about being a Blue Gold is just the pure Midwestern greetings everyone gives each other. Something that was definitely different was, coming in during COVID, you didn't really get to talk to a lot of people during class. And then finally, once that kind of opened up, I was pretty much had just friends who I didn't really hang out with, outside of class, but class friends. And I had a good number of them. And I think that's just purely a Midwestern thing that you're not going to get at a lot of other schools. So I really think, being a Blue Gold just means being really friendly with everyone you kind of see on campus. Everyone always holds the door for each other and says hi. And I don't think you really get that at other colleges.
Yeah, kind of going off that, I think that being able to be a Blue Gold and being able to be in a community like what we have here, where you get to talk with people that all are kind of going through roughly the same experiences you are. That you were all, for the most part, roughly kind of around the same age, so we all kind of have a lot of similar thought processes on things. It's really nice to be able to bounce those ideas off of each other and be able to have people that can really empathize with the sorts of things that you're going through at this stage in our life. And I think that really, to me, I can't imagine a better crew to do that with than all of my fellow Blue Golds and tenors,
Yeah, coming from somebody who transferred, I totally see that empathy that's kind of shared between all Blue Golds. The opening the doors, the highs, and just the smiles every day. It's totally big. And
I definitely feel it, especially as a first year. It's really fun being on the opposite side of the spectrum than you guys are, because this is my very first, the end of my first 2 semesters. So you guys are heading out, but, once a Blue Gold, always a Blue Gold. All right, with our second question, if you could make one improvement to campus, what would you want that improvement to be?
Parking.
Parking.
Thank God.
Parking was the epiphany of my existence my freshman year of college. I'm leaving, so I hope they don't sue me for this. I black market bought a parking pass off of someone. Before
It comes out on BNN.
Before I knew it was not a thing where people weren't supposed to sell their parking passes to someone, but I was desperate. And so I had a parking pass under my roommate's name, and it was in Bollinger parking lot. So I had to walk just 3 miles to get to my car. And there were days where it was so cold where I would literally pay for an Uber home from the parking lot back to campus.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And there'd be days where it was downpouring and I have to walk back in the rain. So parking is definitely what my improvement would be.
Well, thanks for stealing my thunder there, Ellie. I was going to say parking, and not only was I going to say parking, I had plans. I had thoughts and opinions on places that we could have made into a really nice parking garage. But since we're not doing that, so there's this really old tunnel that went between Schofield and Davies. I think we need to reopen that and just have a place where people can just get lost and disappear. I'm talking they're just gone.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a really great way to keep tuition high. Yeah.
I think it's a really good way of making it so that us as Blue Golds have something unique. I feel as in a post-COVID environment, Blues freshmen eating numbers have really drastically dropped, and so we gotta pump those numbers up.
The quota has got to increase.
So you would put him down there kind of like Pac-Man, and he'd be chasing people around in the tunnels? Oh,
Thank God I'm going to be a sophomore next semester.
Yeah, you should.
I think we can all agree though. Just one parking garage, anything. I'm also in Bollinger, so.
I mean, my advice is just if you live off campus, get somewhere close to campus.
Yeah.
I live on Chippewa Street now, right behind Quick Trip. Best thing ever. A walk is 5 minutes. So that's my words of advice in lieu of the parking situation.
Well, great suggestions from both of you. I do like the tunnels as well. So for the next question, where's your favorite place on campus to either study or just relax?
My favorite place to study was Centennial, specifically the chairs where it has the little desk that swivels out. Just because Centennial had the most lighting out of any of the buildings on campus. It's the newest building. And that used to be my little ritual. I'd get some Einsteins and I'd sit at my little chair and I used to get a lot done. So that was probably my favorite place.
For me, I think it would always be whatever room TV10 had in Schofield, be that way back in the day, before some people now have been here, room 47 in the basement, or nowadays room 130, which is significantly nicer, considering that it has things like a fridge, lighting, windows. I could go on. Ventilation, yeah.
I feel like those are a little important.
A little bit. And so my little ritual would always be I would go to Racy's, get some coffee, and then come back and do my work at the TV10 office.
Of course. It's I feel like a lot of Blue Golds and college students in general just need a kind of a safe place where they can go and study, a place where they just like to hang out and study. I definitely know that mine is here up on Upper Campus. There's so many nice places to sit down and just kind of look at the river. But both of those, especially right next to Einstein's, the smell of Einstein bagels, definitely a good spot.
Well, and I love to spend time in the studio or the lower campus office with a bunch of other TV10ers. It's super fun because you go there and you're I'm going to sit and get stuff productive done, and you end up having a conversation about whatever's on the bulletin board. So it's really, really fun. It's such a great place for community and for gathering as, a part of TV10. It's a special space.
Yeah, I really think that for as much as we can sometimes kind of drag the university a little bit, as is our right as students, they do a good job of making good spaces for us to all get together at.
Yeah, that is very true.
Alrighty, let's move on to our next question. So this one might be kind of hard to come up with, but what is your best memory from on campus or your time at UW Eau Claire?
We can also do memories because it's hard to narrow
share
it down.
A couple.
Yeah.
Maybe a TV10 memory.
Oh my goodness. I gotta think for a second. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, take your time.
I know that a lot of people's favorite memories can be kind of like over the weekend, mostly because you don't have to do homework. One of oh shoot, I think Alex Yeager shared a really good one about just like sitting outside and just watching the river one night. But
Yeah. I don't. For me, I think it was just like any time I was walking with my roommates to campus or friends from class leaving campus, I think just like having those little conversations in between were always just like the highlight of the day, because you were either in the thick of it leaving class, or I was heading to work and you're trudging across the bridge in the middle of winter and you're just like, my God, like get me out of here. So just like those conversations, I think, are something that really stuck with me, and you're not really going to have that sort of social interaction anywhere else in your life. So yeah, I think that was probably one of my favorite things.
Well, in contrast, one of my favorite memories, and it's very hard to forget and leave it in my mind, is my freshman year. I was ritually hogtied and paraded around my dorm. And so that's something that stays with you.
Would you mind elaborating?
Yeah, so my friend was like, hey, I bet I could hogtie you. And I was like, all right, bet.
Oh, you mean literally?
Yeah. And so he did. And then he proceeded to carry me around the entire dorm, tormenting my RA and our hall director, who were very good sports about the whole thing. But that's just one of those little things that, where else am I going to get hogtied and paraded around?
Hopefully nowhere else, Nathan.
What happens?
We'll see.
What happens at college stays at college, unless it's going on BNN.
That's quite a goal to have, Nathan, there, but that's a fun memory. It's something, like he said, it's something that you'll never forget, how, like, wacky and goofy is that, in good spirits, good sports, At least it was a positive experience that you walked away with.
And I remember a memory like yours, Ellie, where we were kind of like trudging across the bridge. I was just so cold, and I'm like, this is terrible. I have to get over here for like one class for like an hour, and then I head back. And there was this student who was like going like this, and they were like, day 42. And he was like trudging across the bridge, and it was snowing out. And I just started cracking up, and I'm like, it's like just things like that can happen on this campus just because of how big it is.
People are just in the same place as you. The amount of times I've watched people trip up the Hibbard stairs and also like personally tripped up the Hibbard stairs is insane. It's just there's a lot of shared experiences. Mm-hmm. I remember when I tripped up the Hibbard stairs and some guy turns to me and goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And he's just like, yeah, I think that's something just kind of what Nathan was talking about earlier. You're with a lot of people who are going through what you're going through, which is a lot of change in this period of your life, and you're just not going to kind of get a big group of people who are on the same level as you anywhere else.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, moving on to one of our last questions here. This one actually takes place after you guys are headed out of here and on to bigger and better things. What are your goals, and what's next after college?
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys know, I'm a morning reporter at WAU 13 right now.
Early morning.
Early morning, 2 a.m. No, but I love it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I went to school for. That's the experience BNN gave me, so I'm super grateful for it. So my game plan is to finish out my contract there, so I have another year and a half, and then I want to get another job anchoring, or I think I kind of actually like the early mornings. Call me crazy.
Really?
I do.
Oh, God.
I know. It's most people, it's like, how do you do it? But for me, I'm not worrying about the work day because it's so early. So it's like I get up, I do my work day, and then I have the rest of my day, like afternoon, I'm free, and yeah, so... And I'm a morning person. It's fun.
I mean, you get to see the sunrise every day.
I do get to see the sunrise every day. That's
special.
That's special for sure. Yeah, but then after that, I think I kind of just want to move somewhere fun, like one of the Carolinas or somewhere different for a couple of years while I'm young and I can, and try reporting somewhere else. But I'll probably end up back in the Midwest and apply for a station in the cities. Yeah, so my goal is to probably end back at WCCO or Care 11 or somewhere close to home.
Roots run deep here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For myself, for the next year, I'm going to be in the Eau Claire area. I'm going to be looking for some different live sound positions that I can find, to be that being like an in-house sound person or working specifically like with a band or something, with the goal of either having that be my career, maybe eventually going into recording. If that kind of doesn't wind up panning out, I have a degree in music education. I love working with students. They keep you on your toes. Kids are wild, and it's amazing. And so I think no matter what, I could probably do some really cool work with that. I think with teaching, I'd want to really try and actually do international teaching, because there's a lot of different programs for that. So
Sounds exciting. Sounds like both of you are heading on a little bit of an adventure
Yeah.
once you get out of college.
Sounds like you've both got really fun plans coming up, you know, and really good like ideas, and kind of it's really, it feels good like as a first year with no idea what I want to do. To hear that, you know, after your 4 years here, that you kind of know what you want to do, and that you have, you know, an interest at least, you know, something to walk away with and something to take away from your experience.
You
Or at least
know-
like, you know, the next steps on your journey.
Yeah. You know, I would have to say, you know, Nathan can probably test this. You're not going to really know until the very end. I interned before I got my job, and I said, I don't know if I can do this. The equipment is really heavy. Like,
That was the concern.
this is physical labor, you know. I'm like, I don't know, and you know, it was kind of stressful to turn a story every day, and I didn't know if, I'm like, I don't know, and then I ended up jumping into the morning reporter role, which is just different, a lot more lighthearted news, and you have a little bit more time to put your stories together, and doing live interviews was different, and I'm like, yep, this is what I'm meant to be doing. So you'll have your moments where you're like, why am I even in school? But then you kind of figure it out, and everything slowly starts to fall into place. Do you think, Nate?
yeah, for me, I had a very firm idea about what I wanted when I first came here. And then I was one of the first students accepted into the recording arts program that we now have here. And that changed my plans really drastically. And then somewhere along the way, things got very confusing as to, am I going to teach? Am I going to do sound things? And eventually I kind of came up with the plan that I did, because I was like, figuring out a hard plan is just kind of, in my mind, a little bit pointless. Because when you get to a certain point, you realize that after you graduate, there's really nothing. In school, we've always had something that's like telling us that this is the direction you need to go to, this is your deadline, et cetera, et cetera. After you graduate, there isn't any of that. And I kind of think of it like the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre's idea, in that we are condemned to live, in that when we just have to exist, it's painful to have to just make those choices and things like that. So we just, I don't know, just do something. Finds what makes you happy. It doesn't have to be a plan. You know, just keep it simple.
I think what you guys were basically hitting on was kind of our last question here. If you want to finish this off here.
So I definitely appreciate, you know, hearing your different takes on that. And we're asking you what your final words of wisdom that you could leave to coming freshmen and current Blue Golds as a graduating senior.
Yeah, now that we've kind of like moved into that, what do you guys have to say to the new generations? And
Yeah, I mean, we definitely went through a really different college experience than the average people. I mean, Nathan and I are a couple years apart, but obviously we went through the pandemic together and experienced just that, and things being a little rough. And, you know, I think probably my best words of wisdom are just be patient with yourself. You're going to constantly, when you're at this age, you're going to constantly think you need to be at some point. Like, you need to be in a relationship, or you need to be at this point with your school, or you need to have a job lined up. And things are just not going to work out. And you're going to be mad because you want things to work out perfectly. And they're not going to. So you just need to be patient with yourself and understand that right now, you, like, being a hot mess is what's supposed to be happening. Like, it's going to be complicated and it's going to be messy, but that's sort of the point of these, like, last couple of years of your life. And just try, even though it can be kind of miserable for a little bit, just try to enjoy it, because you're not going to have this time in your life again to kind of just screw up all the time. And although it's like sucks to screw up, no one wants to, it truly makes you grow and learn so much before you actually have to jump out there and do things right.
Yeah. Mistakes are learning opportunities.
For sure.
Yeah, I think my little bit of advice is, I think, very similar in that I think the motto that anyone should be able to take with themselves and throughout their life is simply just be kind. Be that to yourself, be that to others. You know, we all make our little mistakes and things, and, you know, throughout the day, you know, we all get annoyed or angry at people sometimes, and that happens. And we always don't know where other people are coming from, and it's just as important to, you know, I think, give a little bit of mercy to both ourselves, to other people, because if we just at least can do that, then, you know, it makes someone else's life more bearable, makes our own lives more bearable, and it helps just make the world a place that, you know, we actually want to live in. And so I think that's just is something that is not really even college specific, but it's just something to kind of try and remember.
Yeah, and I think just one more thing off of that, meet new friends, meet new people. I feel like people got so antisocial when COVID hit because, I mean, we couldn't see each other's faces. And, you know, what was there to talk about? Oh, your mask is falling down. You know, like, so definitely, like, I definitely miss that. I had a hard time my first year of college because it was very difficult to talk to people just with regulations and stuff. So go out there and make unexpected friends because some of your best memories are going to be with, like, the random people you sat next to in class who you may never see again, but then also they may be someone hiring you for a job one day. Like, it's so important to make connections, and just, this is a good space in your life where you're going to talk to a lot of people who have different life experiences that you haven't got the chance to interact with before. So definitely take advantage of that while you have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Well, that
Thank
is
you guys.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great advice. Thank you both, and best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck in your future endeavors and everything in between. But I think we sadly have to close off for
we really
tonight.
appreciate, you know, your commitment to TV10 and all the memories that you've been able to have with this organization, and you're leaving some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what grows from the roles that you leave behind, and see you grow as new adults in the new world, right? Craziness.
Woo, we're adults.
It's you've been adults, but, you know, it's daunting, you know, a little bit, and I just wish you both happiness, the best of luck.
Yeah, and I think all of TV10 and all the Blue Golds watching right now wish you guys all the luck as you jump into really the real world and life. It's going to be some big steps, but I'm sure both of you guys are going to be able to take them in strides.
All right, well, that's all we have for you tonight.
Join us next semester for your latest news, updates, and weather.
Make sure to check out TV10 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. I'm Marissa Day.
And I'm Alex Rubio.
And for one last time, I'm Ellie Pomerleau. Thank you and good night.